Can't wait to watch Lord of the Mysteries. What the fuck just happened? Let's be honest, the first 10 minutes of this show feels like that one teacher who's got something incredibly intelligent to say, but you cannot understand them.
Sample contains no more than one unmarketable tomato. No more than one unmarketable tomato.
There are cults, rituals, creepy dream sequences, and a Victorian era guy named Klein who's speaking Mandarin. Oh yeah, and he also dies in the first 5 minutes. So if you're confused, you're not the only one. At first, I was genuinely questioning if I was smart enough for the show. All I could think about was that one line from The Social Network. But it isn't that you're dumb. I mean, maybe you kinda are, but that isn't relevant. Because the show, just like the original story, is incredibly layered. Lord of the Mysteries isn't just another anime. And for the dweebs out there, I know it's not Japanese animation, so it's not technically anime, but anime just means animation in Japanese. So I'm just saying it's animation, and if you comment it's not anime, I'll show you a fucking anime. But there's a reason it's been hyped so much. It's a literary adaptation of one of the most beloved Chinese web novels ever written. And that means the source material has lore, layers, and legions of fans who have been waiting years for this moment. But for those who are unfamiliar, like I was, probably want to know, what is it actually about? Well, I'm gonna try my best to get through this. No spoilers, and hopefully this isn't like explaining the Fate series, which was thankfully done already. Maybe I should have left this to him too. But before I get into the characters themselves, you will constantly hear that this is a steampunk Lovecraftian story. And no, that is not the name of Kanye West's next child. I mean, he'd probably choose another era. But what that refers to in simplest terms is steampunk because it's set in the Victorian era, and Lovecraftian referring to H.P. Lovecraft, an author that you probably know of that created monsters like Cthulhu and other immersive cosmic horror-like stories. Lord of the Mysteries combines that with the exaggerated swagger of a K-pop idol, and overall has this original, stylized Lovecraft Sherlock Holmes story set in the Victorian era. Episode 1 wasted no time. Our guy Klein starts off in the most relatable way possible, researching forbidden knowledge, tripping into a Lovecraftian fever dream, and casually dying. You know, good old Tuesdays. It follows Joe Mingrui, who transmigrates aka isekais into the body of Klein Moretti. Imagine if you lived in a cursed Victorian city, got handed a tarot card that may or may not have implications on your life, and suddenly you can drink potions that unlock supernatural powers. Honestly, I'd be crashing the hell out, but Joe is smarter than me. The powers are classified as Beyonder pathways. For all you nerds out there, it's like a Valorant class with specific powers. And while there's 22 Beyonder pathways, as you've seen, there's a shit ton of information about what they mean. And I'm not gonna get into that, because all you really need to know is that each one shapes the user's powers and destiny. And if you mess it up, you could lose your mind, your body, or your soul. It's a world of sequences, mysticism, and divine puppeteering. Of course, in an animation about alchemy, there's none other that comes to mind than Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I think that's a good way to start to explain the premise. You could tell there's a huge theme already with the way that they deal with alchemy and the implications it has on life. Though that's kind of where the explanation ends, because as much of inspiration as this has, there is so much originality to it. And I think I've explained the main premise well. Klein, formerly Joe, navigates his way through alchemy in a Victorian setting. It's an intellectual's wet dream, combining eras and mysticism in ways I don't think we've ever seen before. Klein also doesn't come back as some cocky isekai hero. He wakes up like a man who is so close to grasping the potential of the world, but equally in fear of what that means. Not only does the show treat you like a smart person, but Klein is the smart isekai main character that we need. Yes, I'm talking to you, Kazuya. Episode 2 shows us that Klein becomes a seer, which means he's either clinically paranoid or a magician. And that's the genius of the show. Every frame is dripping with dread, but it's also fun. It's like a gothic escape room written by Nietzsche. Wow, I've talked about H.P. Lovecraft and Nietzsche in a video. I really am a nerd. The pacing is deliberate but purposeful. It doesn't treat the audience like they have smooth brains. It throws you into a complex web of politics, theology, and divine horror and just hopes that you can figure it out. And I respect that, because there is way too much hand-holding in modern anime. And look, I'm not asking every show to be as complex. I'm a big fan of Domestic Girl, but it is refreshing to have such an intricate plot laid out in an unconventional way. I also understand how hard that really is, because anyone can make something confusing and then be pretentious about it, but Cuttlefish, the author, explains it in a way that you can still understand. There's a coherent plot with Klein at the center. Now let's zoom out for a minute. Lord of the Mysteries isn't just a banger adaptation, it's part of a much bigger wave. It's been a whole year since my video on Link Click, and I'm still advocating for Chinese comics and animation. Trump, I am not a communist.
And the word that somebody that, like this communist from New York.
Chinese animation, or DONGHUA, is entering its golden age. Shows like 2B Hero X and Link Click aren't just pretty, they're pushing boundaries. With unique art styles, rich lore, and themes that rival anything out of Japan, there's genuine competition. And Lord of the Mysteries is arguably China's biggest flex yet. This series already has a massive following, and the anime adaptation has been trending everywhere. The production quality is sharp, the tone is mature, and the lore is endless. There is a genuine shift. I mean, this era of anime coming out of Japan consists of a lot of stories that you can binge and forget about. A lot of studios seem to realize the money makers that they could get their hands on and then forget about all the other factors. How faithful they are to the source, how original the work is, and how consistent they are seems to take the back seat. Meanwhile, stories like 2B Hero X, originally a DONGHUA but animated by a Chinese and Japanese studio, genuinely has it all. They have insane animation, but more than that, a story that leaves the room with you. And that's what matters. I know I sound pretentious, and maybe I am, but plot is genuinely the most important thing. It's what makes stories memorable. When it comes to LOTM, as insane as these visuals look, it's the story that you theorize, decode, and argue about at 2 a.m. with random strangers online. Not one that you can binge in a day and forget about within the next week. And that is why it will take over. Lord of the Mysteries is already shaping up to be one of those anime that forces you to pause. It's fast, it's layered, it's confusing in a this might be 4D chess kind of way, and I'm all in. Because sometimes the best stories don't start with answers. They start with a whisper, a tarot card, and a terrifying sense that someone is watching. And I'd want to know, because if knowledge is a curse, then am I ready to be cursed? Yeah, I don't know if I want to be cursed. Look, last video it took 3 weeks. This one took 2 weeks. The next one might just be 1 week. I kid you not, I just recorded this outro like 3 different times. And I had to delete it because it was so much yapping. First and foremost, I apologize to anybody new here who thought this was going to be a thorough explanation of Lord of the Mysteries. I'm not smart enough for that. I also want to make this channel like a personality thing. Like, that's why I make these in-person outros, because I want this to be a community, not some people subscribing because I talk about the latest show. And I wouldn't mind that either. I mean, if you want to subscribe. I also want to catch up on this one anime I've been hearing a lot about. Haven't watched the first episode yet, so probably gonna make a video on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I apologize if you wanted like a very thorough explanation of the show, though I will say, honestly, by the end of the season, this show will definitely make sense. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please comment down below any suggestions, comments in general. Also, thank you guys to the people that have been sticking around, supporting. It means so much. I did want to touch on the fact that I've posted YouTube shorts here and there. They're now enlisted. I hate shorts. I love long form videos. I grew up with that type of YouTube. But it seems that to be able to compete, to grow the channel, and not just for a vain reason of getting a lot of subscribers, but for putting myself out there and making YouTube a livable means type of, occupation, I do kind of have to post YouTube shorts. And I know how annoying that might be. Not might, it is to people who have notifications on anybody who's just subscribed. I hate YouTube Shorts. I don't use them. I honestly wish I didn't use any type of short form media, but I do even use TikTok and Instagram Reels. And I think it's terrible, but it is like it's the age we live in. So I can't keep denying myself from more opportunity just because I hate that type of content. But don't worry, if you do see me posting shorts, that's the bottom of the barrel content. And for me, I'm not saying everybody in general, but that's simply to just get myself out there, hopefully reach out to more people, and then again make YouTube like my job in the future, because I would love that. The people, this community, you guys are genuinely more than I ever deserve, and to have that, it means a lot. So again, thank you for that. And that pretty much wraps everything up that I wanted to touch on. So yeah, might see you in the next one.